Hello and welcome to another edition of Neighborhood Training. This week we are going to work in the this Davisville Peninsula, and before we worked on the I'm looking at Ecopesca, Davisville over here, of course. Prior we have worked in the Fisherman's Cove area. Now we're going to work this section down here. And as we could see pretty fairly, that a lot of this is very well developed and this area is not. And as we will find out, a good portion of this is the Farms Marsh, which is a town-owned conservation parcel that will be forever a woodland and a natural part of land. You can also see from that the Pacheco path down at the end down here. This has all been purchased as far as town property as well. So pretty much this whole area here now is town owned, with these houses being at the very end. There are some private parcels within that, but by and large it is a town piece of land. So we can also see this map here was showing the recent development there off of Crowell Road that's been developed at this time, and some of our finer citizens live right in here overlooking this beautiful Bourne's Pond. Very lucky to have that. We also have in this Green Pond area all pretty well developed in, and we're going to find that the interesting part about Davisville is that it really encompasses a lot of different aspects of building construction. And there's pretty much a real mix along Davisville. We are going to see, as we're very familiar, we have a lot of waterfront houses here. We have a lot of very high-end houses down right along the water, and multi-million-dollar places. We have a lot of real small cottages still on Passamaquoddy, but they're being torn down, and some really little McMansions are being built there. So see transitions there. We'll be as we drive down Davisville, I'm sure we're all aware there's a few kind of legal or somewhat legal multifamily apartments that are around in Davisville on the road. So we do have to be aware that we're not just going to a place that like Fisherman's Cove that's just ranches and that's just the way it is. When you're going down there, you're dealing with a lot of antique homes that have been built in the 1800s, some of them even the late 1700s. So they are older with balloon frame construction. We have a lot of explosive growth happened in the 70s and 80s, so houses around that period. We have some of these real McMansion type places that have been built within the past year that are pretty solid. We also have some large condos. One, I was very surprised to find a condo unit, 5 units in Sandcastle Drive, and never mind the used to be the Falmouth East condos down right down in here on Davisville. So we have to look at the real gamut of building construction here. It is all wood frame construction. So it's going to be quite a trip down here. Let's take a look at some of the roads before we look at some of the photographs of some of the houses. We'll just work our way down Davisville, and later on what I did is I broke it down into the west side of Davisville and the east side of Davisville, and you may want to do that yourself, and try to look at it in that perspective. just beyond Fisherman's Cove heading south, we hit Weatherglass Lane here. The other thing I want to mention is we look down here, we will see it's hydrants throughout Davisville. We can see 1300, 1300. We'll also see, as you drive down Davisville, you'll actually see hydrants on both sides of the road, which is fairly unusual. There's the older ones on one side, the newer ones on the other. This hydrant here has got 980 and this one's got 1500. So there are hydrants on both sides of the road. There's an old main going down one side and a new main going down the other. So obviously it'd be great to pick the newer main and the newer hydrants as opposed to some of the old ones. So back to that, we have Weatherglass, and then we have Crowell Road with the new development of Albert, Sunrise, and Pam's Way. And that is something that we're going to have to listen to a lot, like from our dispatchers. Is it Pam's Way? Is it Tam Way? When people report, it's very important for us to keep that straight. And we also, down at the end of Crowell Road, we have a lot of these houses here are really tucked in off of the road here. So we need to be aware of that. And Lieutenant Thrasher lives down here, but he does have quite a few of his neighbors here that do share a real network of really back roads here that we're probably not going to be able to get 2 engines and the ladder truck down these roads to these houses. So and it's going to be real important to lay in, because if we look here and we begin to measure in just in a few of these houses here, I mean, we're talking 1,000 foot, 1,200 feet to one of these houses. So it's going to be important to grab this hydrant here. There's one of the benefits to having a new development put in is you will bring some hydrants in there. Before they would have had to bring their water right in from Davisville. But that's going to be important for us to keep track of. So we'll get back to that. We have Weatherglass and Crowell, and let's see, Sharon Ann and Vintro Court, which I had never heard of before. So that was something new for me there. Vintro Court, Sharon Ann. And then we have Captain's Lane. I'm just going to shoot over here for a minute just so we can get the shot all the way back. Captain's Lane, and then Seatucket going around in a loop, and Pheasant as well. Seatucket and Pheasant do the loop. Then we have Elizabeth Jean and Terry Lou on the east side. And look at hydrants up and down, pretty well, pretty much built out. And then we have Starfish down at the end. Oh, I didn't want to mess that up because it's important for us to catch that. We have Starfish down at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 16 starfish right down at the end. I don't know if I caught that on my list of roads. And then we have Pacheco Path and Gale Ave. So we have Terry Lou. We kind of think of how to relate these names to it. We have Karen Jane, Renee, Elizabeth Jean, Terry Lou, and then Gale, Pacheco right in there. So we do have a grouping of women's names, and we kind of look along. I don't know how many of you have been down the end of Pacheco Path, but it is a very narrow dirt road. All this is now town owned, conservation land, but this road continues on down at the end here with a nice little spot down at the end, Bourne's Pond. but this is all woodland filled in now, so we should be aware of that. And we'll point out here that Gale Ave and Bacon Farm is a network of walking trails and everything, but this is what we were talking about before, about this all being town-owned property, but then these private owners here right on the water have their houses off of that. But here's the good case in point here where we really need to be on top of things. Here's this hydrant here, and here's this house way down here, and there's a grouping of houses way down there. And if we take a good little look here, whoops, get rid of that here. When we take a good little measurement here, we're going to be, quite a ways down, 2,500 feet to get to that house, and another one here to get down up along road to this house here, just as a real quick shot here. I mean, we're quite a ways in, 2,200 feet, narrow road. I don't know if you've been down this road here, but it is dirt, and then it becomes tar to these houses down at the end. So, we need to be aware of that these people are located down there, those folks are located down there. All right, now we will work, see if we get this map to cooperate here. Yep, there's Renee, Karen, Jane, and then we have Bacon Farm. Remember, up along is Bacon Farm, and then Marsh View over there. Now we have this Alwart Way. Okay, put it right in here. So there's 3 houses on Alwart Way. And I want to take a quick look at this Sandcastle neighborhood in here. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, Sandcastle goes around, then you have Castle Road that goes through the center. But one thing I did find, these are pretty large homes in here. I think somewhere around in here, I believe right here, they have an indoor pool house. Let me see if I can bring that up here. If I can call this up, I believe it's this one here, in Sandcastle. Let's see if this will come up. There we go. And I believe this is their clubhouse and their indoor, they have like an indoor pool in there with a nursery there. I don't believe that's a single person's house. It looked to me to be a clubhouse there in Sandcastle. The other thing I wanted to mention about that is right in here. Now we see we don't have any numbers here. This is 61 Sandcastle Road here. Now I was kind of surprised here. Let's see. Let's go to this one here. I came upon, looked at it, and maybe some of you already know about it, but I was not aware of it. Here we show 3 mailboxes for 61 Sandcastle Drive, and so I was kind of intrigued with that, and took a look a little bit further and was looking at this building here and looking, wow, it's a pretty large single-family home. But as I'm seeing some 3 units here already, I see 3 units, and then I saw that this size here of the building is what you see when you come upon it. And obviously you see 3 garage units, and there's 2 more over here, and the size of this building here, I mean, this is probably a good 10,000 square foot building, and there is 5 units in there. And I was able to go on the town website here, I mean the Top Gun, and you count them off. I mean, this is unit 1, unit 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then that is just the the common ownership. So it's 5 units in there. Each of them is almost 2,000 square foot condo units in there, so it's about a 10,000 square foot building plus this here. Now, these are 5-unit condo in a largely residential area, and there's no sprinkler connection there. I'm hoping they're all pretty well divided out, but this would give us quite a bit of work. So it's a good thing to be aware of. I think it's just called Sandcastle condominiums, but I also know that up by Old Silver Beach used to be a Sandcastle condominiums up there, so I'm bank on it. But this is something I was not aware of. Maybe some of you are, but a multi-family unit, pretty large structure. They're right in the middle there. So heads up on that one. Okay. Then I also picked up this house here picked up this picture of this house while I was in there, and we've seen a lot of this coming up now, the solar panels on the roof. You know, whether we see them in the middle of the night or not, if we're going up to vent this roof. It actually looks a pretty nice roof to vent. Got a nice flat section right up at the top, but we would want to make sure that we don't access over the solar panel. But the other thing that's come up with a lot of these alternative energy homes is that there's a hard time completely shutting off all of the power, just like having an automatic backup generator in homes. This power here from these other sources is going to continue to flow in if there's no separation there. So just keep your heads up on that. And once again, when you look at this house here, this is probably a good 4,000 square foot home, and this is about typical size of the homes that are in Sandcastle. So hopefully we'll get some more info on the in the computers about that condo development. The other section that we want to look at is we do have this 351, 353 area here. These houses down this long road here, and what I found was interesting is this is a very long road down here, but this hydrant is right through the woods. I mean, there's not even, I wish I remember to take a picture of it, but there's just, it's a clear shot right across here, so you could basically get to these houses here and you could just throw a 20-foot section of hose over and grab that hydrant. And it's too bad they didn't connect those in, but obviously they couldn't at the time. But so just a heads up for our dispatchers and ourselves, we get a call down there, we grab that. Okay. Shaker Lane, Seashell. This is the Falmouth East condos, and while we're talking about that, why don't I grab a hold of them here? Let me see if I can. Here we go. Okay. Okay, this is the typical setup. There's 3 of these buildings here, and I would say probably in the, once again, the 10,000 square foot area there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe there's 7 units here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's at least 6 anyway. 6 or 7 condos. It's a very long condo unit, very similar to what was allowed down at the Briarwood condos on Gifford Street. And one of the reasons why now in Falmouth we do mandate that anything over 4 units has a sprinkler system to it, because these buildings are all interconnected. I'm sure there's some sort of fire stopping between here, but that can we can be overridden with a good sized fire. Pretty good for us to handle there, so we want to be aware of that. This is the back side of those condos. Make sure I get this here. Okay, I believe this is the back side of the condos. Yep, here we go. So this is the back side. You can imagine we get fire lapping up from down here over here. We got a pretty good amount of work for ourselves. Each of these doors is representing a different unit, and they're separated by this fencing here. Okay. So we do have these Falmouth East condos there. One thing we've talked about before was multi-family apartments, and I'll just go back to Pacheco Path right in here. This almost all of Pacheco Path is multi-unit units. The one right on the end there looks like a single-family dwelling, has 3 or 4 apartments in it. And we come along to some of these other buildings. They're broken up, and as well as this place right back here. And while we're talking about that, why don't I go to this? Let's see, I think it's this. Yep, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Here's this house here is divided into 2 single-family apartments, and then this one over here is the same way. It's broken up into 2. So we have this one lot, pretty good amount of units on it. Okay, and while we're in that area, we've talking about the different types of construction and the things that are going on in this area. This is an example where a older house has been extensive amount of remodeling done to it, and in some ways it does bring the code, fire code and electrical code up, but we also have to be concerned about the way it is remodeled and connected, and now we obviously have a much larger structure there that we have to deal with, and that's going on a lot in this area. Let's see, I want to bring up, let's see, let's look at this one here while we're just putting around here. This is a garage apartment almost across from Pacheco Path. Here's a single family home out front, and here's a 2-car garage in the back. But when you drive down the side road, you can see they do have a fire escape coming out a window of the building. And I know for knowledge that the second floor is an apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment with kitchen and sleeping facilities. The main entrance is on the opposite side of this photograph, with the stairway up top. So at least there is a second means of egress here. But once again, we can be presented with that and look at it that it's just a garage fire, and when in fact we do have a life hazard inside, and that's kind of paramount to why it's important for us to have knowledge of Falmouth and the neighborhoods that are in there. Let's look at. Let's look at. Did we touch on this one yet? Yep, we did, and I think this is another, just a picture of the large size home on Davisville. I mean, this is a pretty good size house. 3 stories. Hopefully we won't have a fire there, but pretty extensive. So we'll just keep that in mind. But yet we have that, and we also have places like this in Davisville. We'll show a couple of them. We have a little old half-cape home here that looks like it was a little overgrown, so I'm not sure whether anybody's living in it or not. Now this here would probably be a balloon frame type of house. This is down by Bacon Farm, and so we would be unsure whether that's occupied or not, but we would have to assume that it was. And we'll take a look at another one, another older home but very well kept, looking like an 1800s type home. And this one here would, if we had to guess, we're looking at a balloon frame type of structure. We have to anticipate that. That fire can go from the basement of the first floor right up in the attic and be very clear on the 2nd floor. But the way to take that apart is just to cut the exterior wall out instead of fighting it, trying to fight it from the inside. Is just cut the exterior sheathing off of it and get it that way. Okay, and we'll just cover a few of the roads right down towards the end. Davisville, we cover Seashell, Partridge, Misty Harbor, then Captain Davis, and we want to look here that this is something else here that's developed here. This is not a road, a named road. These are all addressed 413 Davisville Road. Okay, 413A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, once again, no hydrants, but hydrants through the woods here that we can grab onto. So if someone calls up and says 413 Davisville, we know it's an entrance right across from Davisville, and which one's it going to be? So we're going to have to find our way out. We're going to have to grab that hydrant or grab this down here. So little things that really got surprises on Davisville. And then we have Oyster Shell, which is fairly new. There's some pretty large houses going on down there. We have Green Meadow, Bourne's Cove Road, and in the back, over in here, I believe, is the cemetery, little cemetery the town's been maintaining back in the back there. Maybe that's right over here. And a lot of these homes here are a lot older. And we have Harbor Farms, and then we come over across Minot and grab all these houses down here. And we have Green Harbor, obviously, with the marina right over there. Green Pond Marina right there. Here we have Davis Neck, and then we have Davisville Extension right across here. And this is another network of roads in here that's kind of confusing. There are a lot of dirt roads in the area, and I've driven in there, and the signage is pretty good, but not fantastic. But we should remember that there's Davisville Extension and Davis Neck, and off of Davis Neck we have Anchor here, North Chop, and Willis Lane. And we had a fire many years ago right in the back there. And then we have Avenue A, Weedy Lane, and Foster, Ohio, and Pasnacoy. And Pasnacoy goes across the Minot, and then Robert is on the opposite side here. Robert, Pasnacoy, and Moonpenny, and they do not connect through. The road kind of ends right about in there. This is paved and this is not. One thing that's kind of interesting and in some ways kind of disturbing, being from Cape Cod a long time, and this is what's happening to Falmouth a lot, and I guess it's progress, but in some ways it isn't. We have these beautiful little cottages here, and this is what Falmouth and Cape Cod used to be. These really fit into the neighborhood and really fit in on the shoreline, and then you have these being torn down and this being built here. That's it's a shame that we're losing places like that, but I guess it's progress. Okay, and we'll take a quick look here on our town map. I'm going to spend too much time on that. Just going to show that, hopefully we will show that we've got hydrants throughout that whole area. I guess maybe you'll have to take my word for it, as it doesn't seem to want to come up. So, here we go. Now, okay. Now we can see by just taking a look here. I mean, we saw it before, but this is just an easy way to look at it to see where the pipes are and the pipes are not. So we can see we have a pretty extensive network here of hydrants throughout Davisville, and even down the other side down here by Minot, that we have them as well. Okay, now why isn't this cursor? It's not working as well as I wanted to. Okay, let's see if I can get it to behave here. Okay. Let's see what it's going to bring up next here. Kind of heavy, funny cursor here doing some funny things to me here. Let's see. Document. Here we go. Okay, we're just going to review some of the hazards we have. I know we're getting kind of long here, but there's a lot to cover there, and I wanted to grab it in one fell swoop as opposed to a couple of different swipes at it. This is our Davisville neighborhood. Wood frame structures pretty much throughout. I really didn't find any of that. We do have a lot of multi-families developments. I mean, not developments. We have the condos. We have garage apartments. We have houses that are broken up into apartments. We have sheds that are broken apartments. We have multi-million-dollar homes as well on Davisville. So the road's on the west side, which is the side to Green Pond. You go down Weatherglass, Sharon Ann, Vintro, Captains, Seatucket, Pheasant Lane, Karen, Jane Ave, Renee, Alwart. Remember there's 3 houses in Alwart. There's Sandcastle and Castle in there. Partridge, Misty Harbor, Commodore, and Green Harbor. And we have Kroll, Albert, Sunrise, Pam Way are the new ones off of Kroll, Elizabeth Jean, and then we had Starfish down at the end, right? Starfish, I believe it was Lane, down at the end. Terry Lou, Pacheco Path, Gale Ave, Bacon Farm, remember that goes to Upalong, those houses way down at the end. Marshview, Shaker, Captain Davis, Oyster Shell, Bourne's Cove, and then Minot, we have Harbor Farms, Green Harbor Road, North Chop, Willis Lane, Davis, Neck Road, Anchor, Weedy, Avenue A, Moonpenny, then we have Pasnacoy, Moonpenny across the way, Ohio. So we'll work our way through that. I would urge you to spend some time and get used to that area as well if you're not already. And it's about some of the roads down towards the end of Davisville. They're 2 miles from Station 5, but they're 4.5 miles from headquarters. So the East Falmouth crew is going to be working down there for a bit before you're going to get some second engine or more down there. So set yourselves up right and start the incident off correctly, and usually what is started off correctly will end correctly. If we start with some small errors, sometimes they get compounded and it's hard to make up for them as time goes on. So that's it for this week's neighborhood training, and in the meantime, stay safe and eat healthy.